Hello and welcome. Interesting press conference. Nothing much was said. The build up was that a lot will be said. Hardly anything was said. Uh, Rohit Sharma's availability, it will be decided ahead of the first test. Clearly, can't be. I mean, you definitely must be knowing 10 days ahead of a test match if your captain will be there or not. Suppose he lands up in Australia on the 21st. Will you play him on the 22nd? You won't. So there were a lot of things that were left unsaid. Clearly, I mean, Gautam did not want to give it away. If you want to keep the Australians guessing, that's a different matter. But if you think in terms of the press conference, nothing much was revealed. Diplomatic answers. Not one question did he kind of, except that Washington Sundar question where Gautam kind of opened up. Let me start with all my guests, Bharat, Ogni, Shomik এবং Devashish, all of them joining me. আমরা bilingually করব. Shomik, why don't you start? Rohit Sharma's availability left unclear. That's the point. Left unclear because he didn't say he's not available. He didn't say he's available. He said if he's not available, Bumrah will lead. Now the point is the team is leaving today. The point is he himself said 10 days incredibly important to get used to the conditions. Suppose Rohit Sharma lands up 2 days before. Suppose hypothetically, clearly you're not going to play him, right? So is he available? Not available? Yesterday we broke this news. Conclusively, can we say Rohit Sharma not available? India is going with Plan B, which is Jasprit Bumrah to lead. Shomik Chakraborty.
Yes, we can conclusively say that Rohit is not accompanying the team to Australia. If he goes later, that's a different thing. And I think, as because it's a personal issue, Gautam didn't reveal much. As because it's a personal issue, it's Rohit's personal call. But between the lines, he said, I think he said everything that at least in the first test at Perth, Rohit is not playing. And when that question was asked to him, who would be your backup opener? Then he said, we have Ishwaran, we have KL. Either Ishwaran or KL will play. So between the lines, I think Gautam has said everything, and we can conclusively say Rohit is absolutely, as you said, we broke the story, and he is not going with the team, and it's wouldn't even say it's unlikely he is not playing in Perth.
That is the point only. That is the point that Rohit Sharma clearly is not available in Perth is done. Because if he's not traveling with the team, then clearly to expect him to travel in the next 3-4 days or 5 days and go and play in Perth is not in the realm of possibility. So India will go in with Plan B, which is either KL or Ishwaran, and Bumrah as captain. That is precisely the point. Your thoughts on the Gautam Gambhir press conference, Ogni?
Very diplomatic press conference, as you rightly said, Boryada, and I found similarities with the press conferences of a certain Rahul Dravid in terms of diplomacy, in terms of not giving things away, in terms of keeping the press conference extremely vanilla, as we say, that not giving any masala to any journalists. But one thing was very clear, Boryada, that what Shomikda also said, that we can now probably still 99% sure we can say that Rohit will not play the first test, because clearly the team management has a plan B. It was evident when Gigi said it's either KL Rahul or Abhimanyu Ishwaran at the top. And clearly when he said that Jasprit Bumrah is the designated vice captain, so if Rohit is not there in Perth, he's going to lead Team India. Very importantly, Gigi also addressed a detailed thing about KL Rahul, saying that he has got loads of talent. And imagine a batter who can open, who can bat at number 6. He has kept wickets for India in the ODI format. So Gigi praising KL in the press conference is of much significance to me. So probably, and another quote from Gigi, that sometimes you need to go with the experience, and we have a lot of experienced players who can perform in Australia, who can play well for the country. So going by what Gigi said, clearly KL and Yashasvi at the top, with Bumrah donning that Indian blazer and going out to toss with Pat Cummins. Boryada.
Bharat?
Yeah, this is a trademark, typical press conference, one has to say. These days, you hardly get any answers in press conference. They always try to, that's the way it is. Whatever, even not just with Gambhir, that's usually the case. They always try to somehow circumvent, evade all the questions and try to be diplomatic. But yeah, it looks like Rohit Sharma won't be there in the first test, and it would be KL Rahul, who's obviously short of confidence. We saw that recently in that Australia game that he left an off spinner, a typical off spinner that was going towards leg stump, and then it caught his pad and went and hit off stump. So he's short of confidence, but it looks like India will back experience, and KL Rahul will be at the top of the order.
Devashish?
I also feel KL Rahul, there's an indication where one might suggest that KL Rahul might be opening the batting for India. And they said that KL can open the batting, he has done it before. He can bat at number 3, he can bat at number 6. He has kept wickets. So there's definitely a clear indication what is going to be for the first Test match in Perth. So Yashasvi and KL very likely to open the batting. And obviously, I felt that Gautam Gambhir was a lot more reserved today. Means after that, obviously he did said that the Indian team were completely outplayed against New Zealand, but his camaraderie with Rohit Sharma still remains the same. They share a good relationship, but yes, the conditions will be challenging, which we all accept. But then, given that the Indian team will be there for 10 days practicing, so hopefully we can see there will be a good preparation.
Shan?
Yeah, Borean, absolutely. I think, a lot of these points have been discussed. KL Rahul is what we expected as well. So it'll be nice to see him open. It might be difficult because he's not been in the best of form, but obviously he's been backed by the team. So that'll be interesting. My overall opinion of the press conference was that Gambhir, like Devashida mentioned, was quite reserved, but he seemed pretty firm and stern with the statements that he was making. So hopefully, there might be a plan that might be executed here. Obviously, that series would have definitely hurt them, and I'm sure all these implementations will be taken under place. He also backed the youngsters, Nitish Reddy, Washington Sundar. So I think we might expect these youngsters to come good. It'll be fascinating to see if they happen to do that, Boreada.
Yeah, Devashish?
Yeah, only thing just I would like to add what Ishan said was only time when Gambhir looked his own self was when he was questioned about social media talk about that the team has not performed in recent times. So he clearly said that I am not concerned what is said about me in the social media, because when I took over the role as the Indian coach, I knew there will be challenges. Yes, I have always been honest with my role, and that is what I'm going to do. And that for me was the Gautam Gambhir we know. Means obviously straightforward. He has been very honest in his role, and one would expect that yes, he did admit that we did not play well against New Zealand. Yes, that's a past thing. But all we want to focus now is to go look ahead for that 5-match Test series against Australia.
No, that is a fair point. That is a fair point, and all of us know social media is toilet paper. Social media, you just flush it off. That's what social media is. In my life, social media is very simple. It is toilet paper. I mean, half of the people, 99% of the people on social media are idiots. I mean, they're trolls who don't understand anything, and they just make comments. Even journalists have become part of that trolling brigade now. So social media is toilet paper. That's not even relevant. And for me, okay, for me, 3 points, and I want all of you to address it. One, I like Gautam. I like Gautam in the sense Gautam brings fight. Gautam brings fight to the table. And he has always been like that, feisty. His comment about Ponting, what does Ponting know about Indian cricket, is the correct comment. Who the hell is Ricky Ponting to comment about Indian cricket? Is Sachin Tendulkar commenting who is going to open for Australia and Australia? No. So why is and Ricky Ponting can say anything. Why is it that we, the Indian media, highlight Ricky Ponting's comment? Is Sachin Tendulkar's comment being highlighted by the Melbourne Age or the Herald or anybody? No. So why is it that Australian players get this kind of unnecessary importance in the Indian media is something that I 100% agree with Gautam Gambhir. Ricky Ponting is nobody who will get this kind of highlight or should get this kind of highlight in India. He can get it in Australia. We don't care. Our players are legends. Tendulkar or Ganguly or Dravid or a Lakshman or a Gavaskar, they don't get any of this in Australia. So why should Australian players get this kind of highlight in India? Simple. So that is a point that I absolutely took from the press conference. Number 2, something that I did not understand, and I want somebody to explain to me, Harshit Rana. Workload management? What workload management are you talking about? I mean, then don't send Prasidh Krishna. Is Prasidh Krishna not in your scheme of things? If Prasidh Krishna is in your scheme of things, he was also playing domestic cricket and he went and played the India A games, then he should have played Ranji Trophy here and not gone to Australia. I didn't understand that point, and I want to know more from all my guests. Third point. Every time the Rohit issue came up, captaincy, Gautam kept the straight face answer. We will know, having almost given it away, because he himself went on to say that 10 days will be very important to get used to the conditions, which will be profoundly different. Now, clearly, if your captain's not traveling today, the next couple of days, 3 days, 4 days is taken out of the equation. Then you would have traveled now. So, with very limited preparation, are we seeing in Rohit in Perth, even if he goes? No. That's the point that Shomik made. He dismissed Shubman. He said, why should we give it away? And at the same time, he said KL or Ishwaran. So, Shomik Chakraborty, these are my takeaways. Has he now told us that Shubman is not being considered as an opener? It's 3. That's almost a giveaway. 2, did you understand what was it about Harshit Rana and Prasidh Krishna? I didn't get it. If Harshit Rana issue is workload management, why is it not applicable to the others?
Absolutely, and I also didn't get. I mean, to start with, I didn't even get Harshit Rana's selection for the series. Uh, given that a player who has barely played 10 first-class matches, I don't know on what basis he was picked, because what his exploits so far have been in white ball cricket in the IPL, number one. And number two, I mean, he wasn't part of the Indian team in the red ball setup for the series against Bangladesh. Belatedly, he was drafted into the Indian red ball setup before the final test against England in Bombay. Maybe the team management knows a little bit more than what we see, but this workload management, Harshit Rana hasn't been playing at all. So what is their workload management? And Prasidh Krishna at least went to South Africa last year, and he didn't look like taking test cricket like a duck to water, but I mean he has miles in his legs, in the sense. Obviously, he is a very injury prone cricketer, but as far as domestic cricket is concerned, he has miles in his legs. But Harshit Rana, the whole, I totally agree with you. I couldn't comprehend what Gautam Gambhir wanted to say.
Ogni, and the other point, 10 days, show me, get a mute karo. 10 days extremely important in terms of preparation, because conditions are very different and alien. Then why not give Harshit Rana 20 days to get used to those same conditions? Why make him play a Ranji Trophy game here? Send him with the A team. Let him get used to the conditions. He's part of your schema. Why are you not sending Harshit Rana there? And I mean, I can't get my head around that answer, Ogni.
There's possibly one explanation for that, Boryada. Like, you want to use Harshit Rana as your trump card. You don't want to expose him to India A games. You don't want Australia to see enough of Harshit Rana. Probably you just play him in Perth. I mean, for all we know, Harshit Rana might just step out in Indian whites in Perth. And God forbid, if Harshit Rana bowls really well in Perth, then GG will go on to say this is exactly the reason, this is precisely the reason why he was not sent to India A games. But having said that, Boryada, it's his first tour to Australia. I mean, you have 10 days to adjust. I mean, even not a Bumrah, right? Or even a Mohammad Siraj for that. You don't have any down under experience. You don't have any Aussie experience. The Aussies keep coming at you. But you see, one thing Gigi highlighted with the fast bowling pack, that they have 2 tall hit the deck bowlers in Prasidh Krishna and Harshit Rana. And then he goes on to say that Harshit Rana played for Mumbai, and Harshit Rana did this and that. This is of very little significance to me, Boryada. So I'm guessing that probably this is the reason that you don't want Australia to see enough of Harshit Rana. You want Australia to see whatever Harshit Rana has done in IPL and judge Harshit Rana based on that. And probably as Washington Sundar came out of syllabus for New Zealand, probably a Harshit Rana, we might just see him step out in India whites in Perth. I won't be surprised at all, Boryada, if you see Harshit Rana walk in.
Plausible explanation, that one. Plausible explanation. I mean, that you keep somebody under the wraps and kind of, unleash, like 1992, Craig McDermott was unleashed by Australia at that point in time. Somebody called Maestro Arms, AMS, whoever has the back end, can you block this guy, please? how many Kangali cricketers, I don't know what he means, I think Bengali, don't need lectures for good for nothing Bengalis, and he's come to our stream. I don't like, this is exactly the social media kind of idiots that Gautam Gambhir said, why is social media relevant? Exactly the example for you. He comes to your stream and makes this comment. Exactly why social media is toilet paper. Just flush them out. Throw them out. Bharat Ramraj, did you make... Yes, Ogni.
Yeah. Also adding one more point, Boria. I mean, what Gigi said and what you said, I am completely 100% with you, with both of you on this. That what does Ricky Ponting know of Indian cricket? Now, this is something that I really, really wanted to ask. I mean,
One second. He might know a lot. He might know a lot. But the point is, why should we talk about Ricky Ponting?
No.
Sachin Tendulkar knows everything about every cricket. But Sachin Tendulkar is not going to opinionate about Australian openers, right? And even if he does, should the Australian media highlight that? No. Why should we highlight what Ricky Ponting is talking about our dressing room?
See, Boria, the point is very simple. He will come to India for 2.5 months, take loads of salary, and be eventually be ousted from an IPL team. 7 unsuccessful seasons, and again he's been taken by the Punjab Kings this season. So you come to 2.5 months, you don't even know what's happening in the domestic circuit. You don't even know about the Ranji Trophy scene. Go and comment it. Go and do your commentary in BBL, no? And you are a top-notch cricketer. You are a fantastic captain. You are a great broadcaster, great expert. All of this is true. But why do you have to instigate Indian cricket? I really don't know, and I think Gigi gave a very, very fitting answer to that.
That was a good one. That I've always said this. I mean, will Sunil Gavaskar today saying Nathan McSweeney doesn't make a great opener, will that be a headline in the Australian media? No. Sunil Gavaskar is the greatest opener of all time. That's our problem. And the problem is with us, not with Ponting. The problem is we highlight, this is what Ricky Ponting has said. The problem is with us. We are the ones who have created this monster, or rather this elephant in the room. Bharat, take this one. This is an interesting one, but no one's dejected actually. When Cam Green was selected, Shubham Sharma, in Border Gavaskar Trophy 2020, everyone was going gaga. Now when India selected Nitish Reddy for filling Hardik Pandya role, we are dejected. Don't we need to develop seam bowling all-rounders? I don't think anyone's dejected. We are questioning, is he ready? Bharat.
I don't think anyone is dejected. Everyone knows that Nitish Reddy has enough potential. If you look at how he scored those 36 runs in the second innings against Australia, he definitely has the potential with the bat, and he's someone who can swing the ball. So definitely can make it, but at present maybe he's not there in terms of his all-round abilities. But as a seam bowling all-rounder, Nitish Reddy definitely is someone who can make it to the highest level and play for India for a long period of time. I just want to add a point about Harshit Rana. I can perfectly understand why the selectors and Gautam Gambhir have picked those two tall bowlers. When you go to Australia or South Africa, you need a couple of, at least one tall hit the pitch bowler. But what I can understand about Harshit Rana is you should have definitely sent him and made him play for India. The one reason is he's not bowled with red kookaburra ball. Red kookaburra ball is different from SG ball. The way the seam around that ball is different, and how much it seams around. So a lot of things are different with SG ball and kookaburra ball. So Harshit Rana should have definitely played for India against Australia. But on the other side, I can perfectly understand why they selected both Harshit Rana and Prasidh Krishna. Just that they have to go and execute their skills in the test matches. Whether they execute their skills, that obviously is not in selectors' hands.
Devashish, how is this team? Priyanshu for Gill, Jaiswal, Sundar, Virat Pant, Jurel, Jadeja, Reddy, Siraj, Akash. He's given a team. Sundar gives me more confidence that we'll come to this. We'll come to this, but let's focus a little bit more on the press conference. Devashish, Gautam clearly, repeatedly said that as far as Virat and Rohit are concerned, he dismissed the transition issue. He said plenty more to come from both of them, which is exactly what should be done by the head coach. He had their back, and rightly so. He also made the point how good he and Rohit share a relationship, which is an interesting statement if you can kind of read that, he had the captain's back. But thoughts, because clearly 13 innings or 10 innings of 133, not playing the first test, then perhaps going, there will be a lot of pressure on Rohit Sharma whenever he decides to travel to Australia. Devashish.
And we have seen from the past that Australian media or rather the so-called ex cricketers, they always target the Indian captain or an overseas captain when they are on tours. So definitely with Rohit not performing well, so definitely whenever he gets an opportunity, whenever he plays that first Test match in Australia in this series, he will be targeted before he goes on to play. So definitely, but then the good thing about Gautam Gambhir, what he makes today in the press conference, that he definitely feels that both Virat and Rohit has a lot of hunger. So he emphasized the hunger for getting more runs, and that is what I liked about Gautam Gambhir, the coach, because you need your two best batters to perform in Australia if you have to do well. And who better than Rohit and Virat? And yes, both of them has not done well in the recent series against New Zealand, but the conditions will definitely favor both Rohit and Virat, especially they are good in pulling and cutting, and the bounce will favor them. So I totally feel that this is a big statement from Gautam Gambhir, the coach, is to rely on his two senior most cricketers to come good in Australia, and also making a statement that they still have a lot of cricket left in him and they have the hunger.
Ishan, take this. This is quite an interesting one. Tomogno Basu, not just for bowling, Harshit should have played for India A as for batting also, because he's the only pacer who can bat. We don't need four tailenders. This is a good point. He can get
Absolutely.
used to the conditions and contribute. Ishan?
Absolutely, Buryada. I think Harshit Rana, one of the major reasons is also because of the batting abilities that he has. So playing in those India games are given that experience of how those pitches would actually react. Bowling, definitely he's in this side for his bowling abilities, but when you're playing in Australia against those Australian bowlers, you need someone who can hold on to your wicket as well. And Harshit Rana, like Bharat has also mentioned in the past, is someone who can hold on to the bat. So getting that experience in overseas conditions is absolutely important. So I completely agree with both points here, because at one end you want to use them as a surprise package, but maybe the safer option would have been play him in this India A games, because what if the surprise option doesn't work out? There's always a gamble. Now, do you want to take this gamble? Maybe they've gone on and decided to take this gamble. But Boryada, I think after losing this Test series 3-0, I'm not sure if this is the kind of gamble that you want to be taking. You want to be taking a gamble which is sure that, okay, this is going to be the right decision by the end of it. So Harshit Rana not playing and then directly playing in that first Test match, who knows? It might not even work out. If it works out, that's great. But having him out there fielding, batting, bowling would have definitely helped playing that big Test match.
I think, Oyan Shamadda, this is exactly the kind of questions that kind of are unreasonable questions. I'm being polite to you. Gautam Gambhir average in Australia is 26. It's absolutely funny that Gambhir teaches Rishabh Pant, Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Gill, Jaiswal. What is Andrew McDonald's contribution to international cricket at all? How do you think Andrew McDonald is the head coach of Australia? What was Duncan Fletcher's contribution in international cricket that he became head coach of a particular country? What is Trevor Bayliss's contribution in international cricket that he became the head coach of England? How many do you want me to rattle off? Can you please elaborate? I mean, this is the kind of, you think by saying he's got an average of 26, and by the way, not 26, it's 22, if I know right. So if his average of 22, etc., how does it even matter? Andrew McDonald's tenure has been extended till 2027. You think, is it about what is Bharat Arun's average in any part of the world that he is considered the best bowling coach for India? He was coaching Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, etc. How many wickets have Bharat Arun taken, and how many have Jasprit Bumrah and some of the other bowlers taken? Shomit Chakraborty, can you address this?
John Buchanan coached Steve Worth, Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, Brett Lee. John. So basically, coaching is absolutely, and as you said, Andrew McDonald coaches Steve Smith, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark. Coaching is a completely different thing, and I mean it's a different ball game. And see, at this level, a coach doesn't do what a coach at under 19 level or A level does. I mean, it's about keeping the dressing room. It's about keeping the dressing room motivated and happy, and look after the preparation, that your preparation is spot on. I go back to an anecdote from R. Sridhar after what happened, that after 36 all out in Adelaide in 2021. Ravi Shastri's first team talk was, one good spell of first bowling doesn't a bad team make. Go and enjoy, chill. And the way The Indian team celebrated that night. Someone was singing. They had a team dinner. People could have misunderstood that India had won the test, but that was not the case. And I think this is Gautam Gambhir's challenge. Gautam Gambhir, I hugely respect him as a cricketer and a fighter. He's a fighter to the core. I would like to see Gautam is taking a leap out of Ravi Bhai's book and doing that kind of thing that will allow this group to forget about the result against New Zealand and focus afresh for the Australia series.
Agni, take this. If coaches needed to be World Cup winners, only Gary Kirsten wouldn't have been our coach.
See, Gary Kirsten was the coach of the Pakistan cricket team, but then we all saw what happened just recently. So Gary Kirsten had to back out. I mean, for reasons we don't know yet, probably due to the pressure of the selection committee, who is not being allowed to select his own team. Yes, I read one comment. I absolutely agree to that comment, Boria. Just give me 1 sec. Yes, this is by Shirish G. He writes, Orange Shamadda, sometimes people who have failed before can be good teachers who tell others how something will be a mistake and better to be avoided. I just have one comment to make here. I think Ricky Ponting is probably the most successful captain Australia has ever had, but look at his record in IPL. Hasn't won a single championship, ousted from Delhi Capitals. Now appointed by Punjab Kings as the head coach. We don't know what's his strategy going to be in the mega auction. Comes to India for 2.5 months. And sorry for highlighting Ricky Ponting so much. Comes to India for 2.5 months, takes loads of salary and goes to Australia and spends the rest of his days there. So to be a good coach, not necessarily you need to be an extremely, extremely successful international player. Gautam Gambhir has shown what he can do as a coach, albeit in limited overs format. We are not denying the fact that the pressure is intense on the support staff. I mean, not only Gigi, take Abhishek Nair, take Ryan and Dishkade, take Mone Mokal. The pressure is intense on the support staff, but this is a ridiculous logic that if you can't perform in Australia, you can't coach Team India. And as Shominda very rightly said, see, now the national level coaching is a completely different skill set altogether. It's about the dressing room management. It's about man management, talking to your players. Like what Gigi did in today's press conference was a prime example of that. He kept on saying that Rohit and Virat still has a lot left in their tanks, and he would be looking up to his senior players for their experience in Australia. I think that's exactly what a head coach of a national team does, more than managing the subtleties of a technique, Boryada.
India, Bharat, 6 jokers. You know, we love we are jesters. And by the way, you are undermining jokers because they are the most talented in a circus. So by making this comment, you are proving what you stand for. So we are highlighting what you stand for. Bear with us. Monday morning, আজকে সোমবার তাই না? আজকে
সোমবার.
Monday morning, think India Bharat has this time to come and listen to 6 jokers talking nonsense on their platform on a Monday morning. Think about his level of intelligence. Point taken.
We also have a Bharat, Boryada. We have a Bharat Ramraj. So all that is not
so
bad.
Let's go to the Bharat Ramraj. Wait. Let's go to the Bharat Ramraj. Let's go to the Bharat. There was a question on Siraj. And that is
just hold on. Just hold on.
Yeah, I mean দেখলাম questionটা. Bharat, tell me that.
Yes.
Yes. India will be in trouble if Bumrah won't get support from the other end. Siraj is not giving confidence. Gautam mentioned the faster bowlers. There was a question about the inexperienced fast bowlers, etc., etc. Your thoughts, Bharat?
See, Mohammad Siraj, I guess, presently doesn't have the confidence in his bowling itself. Secondly, I guess he's experimenting too much. Maybe he's also played a lot of games. You have to say he's played a lot of games. So maybe it's not fit enough currently because his pace was 130, 132, 133 kilometers per hour in the Wankhede test. That is not the Mohammad Siraj one has seen. When Siraj is at his best, he's a hustler. Someone who can bowl around 140 kilometers per hour, hustles the batter, keeps the batter honest. And obviously, he's someone who has that 3-4 seam ball. And he's someone who can swing it a little bit, nice outswinger, and it's a good short ball. But that's not the Mohammad Siraj we are seeing currently. So maybe it's down to him being a little tired. He's played a lot of games. Maybe a couple of weeks will help him to get back to fitness levels. But India's bowling is a problem outside of Jasprit Bumrah, definitely, because in Australian conditions, especially in Australian conditions, you want two bowlers. You want bowlers to bowl in partnerships. It's not just about one bowler keeping it tight and beating the bat from one end. And if you don't have bowlers at the other end doing that, then especially Australian batters who are good at cutting and pulling will take the game away from you. So it's very much important that pressure is kept from both ends. Unfortunately, it's not happening currently with someone like Mohammad Siraj. Maybe he's experimenting too much, trying too much. He's currently what you can say jack of many trades, master of none. That's how it seems like with the Mohammad Siraj. Somewhere he has to understand. Somewhere it's for him to understand which is his stock delivery, which is his main weapon, whether it is swing bowling, outswing, or whether it's seam bowling. That's for him to come out and understand, because currently he's trying too much, I believe, experimenting too much with his deliveries.
Devashish, Prasidh Krishna did extremely well in that last game. Bowled very well in the first innings, 4 wickets. The start of the second innings picked up 2 excellent wickets. If you see the deliveries round the wicket and then that Yorker. Harshit Rana or Prasidh Krishna? Straight question. If we say Akashdeep or Siraj, you will need one hit the deck bowler like Bharat keeps emphasizing in Perth. So if I say Bumrah, one, Akashdeep or Siraj, ideally Akashdeep on form at this point, but if you might go with Siraj, that's a different matter, because similar kind of bowlers. But Harshit Rana or Prasidh Krishna, according to me, Prasidh Krishna, because he has already played these games in Australia, has proved himself. Your thought?
I also totally agree with you, Boryada. Just because of the sheer fact that he has played in that Australia A game and has done well, reasonably well. Yes, and gone since that Test debut in South Africa, he has improved a lot, and he has done well in domestic cricket. And definitely, you should always rely on someone who has the experience of playing. And nothing compares when you play a match. Means you might practice day in and day out, but what for me, everything that it's important when you play actually a match. And Prasidh, that he has played that game against Australia and has done well. So I will definitely go with a Prasidh Krishna instead of just throwing Harshit Rana straight away for that first Test match. Yes, at least let him soak the pressure, share the dressing room. Then you can take a chance with Harshit. But straight away, if you have to take a call on Harshit or Prasidh, I will go with Prasidh Krishna any day.
I'll just add a point if possible.
Yeah, please, Bharat, go ahead, please.
Yeah. See, I have seen a lot of Prasidh Krishna, so I just wanted to add a point on him. See, the only problem I see with Prasidh Krishna is when the opponent attacks him, he seems to lose the plot. That's my only issue with Prasidh Krishna over a period of time. He's the nicest of guys. Talked to him a long time ago, but does he have that kind of mindset for a fast bowler? I'm not so sure, because he gets extra bounce he gets from that height. He can also bowl Yorker, so obviously the batter is always looking up at the fast bowler, and suddenly you see Yorker at your legs. So and he's also started to go round the wicket to left-hander, and he can swing the ball as well. So it's a lot of things going for him, but the only thing that I always worry about Prasidh Krishna over 8-9 years is his mindset. Whenever a batsman seems to attack him, he somehow seems to lose the plot under pressure. So hopefully he has learned his lessons from how he bowled in South Africa, and that will be good for him if that has happened with him.
This is a good one. Ishan, take this. If Jasprit Bumrah is your captain for the first Test, which is now more than likely, who's your vice-captain? Rishabh Pant?
Boryada, yes, I think we'll have to go with Rishabh Pant. Don't really see too many other options at the moment besides Pant. Shubman Gill, but I would still prefer Rishabh Pant in my opinion. I think Rishabh Pant, simply for the fact of probably having more experience in those conditions as well, and in general, would give it to Rishabh Pant. Shubman Gill is also an option, but besides these two, I don't see any other possibilities. So if it's Bumrah as the captain, then definitely Rishabh Pant as the vice captain. And coming back to the previous question as well, Prasidh Krishna, I need Boryada. I feel having played those matches, gained those experience, and like you said, proved himself. When you go there, you want to prove yourself, and he's done his job. So I think he deserves his due. It'll be good to see him play. Harshit Rana, again, it's too much of a gamble, and you don't want to be making such a big gamble playing that first Test match.
Good question. Faster bowlers. This was a question that could have been asked before more. With Pat Cummins, we have seen how fast bowlers can be excellent captain Shubham Singhal. Yes, it might just be the case that Prasidh Bumrah doesn't have the same bowling attack as Pat Cummins, a Hazelwood, a Stark, and a Boland. And he decides that if the others are not good enough, he overbowls. But I think Jasprit Bumrah is sharp enough and shrewd enough, and there is a Virat Kohli, there is a Rishabh Pant, there is a Shubman Gill out there. There will be a leadership group. Plus, there is a Gautam Gambhir sitting out there. I don't think that will be a problem, especially in Perth. I mean, now if I see the Australian batting order either, I mean, it is a tale of two underconfident batting orders facing off against each other, and that's why Test matches get over in 3 days. So I don't think anybody will overbowl or anything like that, because these days, which is the last Test match that we remember has gone to 5 days. I don't remember Test matches going to 5 days. Devashish Sen, critical question. Shubman Gill at 3 has to do a Cheteshwar Pujara. From what you have seen of Shubman Gill, because the last 2 series, that number 3 position, Cheteshwar Pujara, doing it, grinding the Australians. Devashish Sen, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara.
Huge role. Means obviously he had to frustrate the Australian fast bowlers. Means and the only way to do is to be out there in the middle, stay in the middle, and you might look ugly, but then you have to go out there. It's not about scoring runs. It's about spending time in the middle. And if India and if Shubman can do that role with perfection, who knows? Because we have seen Cheteshwar Pujara doing the same role in the previous 2 Test series, and where he played more than 1,000 balls. So I think Shubman Gill, he has the potentiality, but then given that he's a stroke player, we all know. But then he needs to add to his ability this quality of staying in the middle. He has played some long innings before. It's not that he can't, but key will be to stay in the middle and frustrate the Australian fast bowlers. If you can frustrate the Australian fast bowlers, it makes the job a lot more easier.
Ramit Mukherjee, Gill should be Gill. He can't be a Pujara. Pujara was old-fashioned. These modern-day batters don't think that way. Pujara was part of your WTC team last year. What do you mean old-fashioned? So in 12 months, it's old-fashioned and modern. He was brought back in England to be part of the WTC final. Where is the question of old-fashioned coming in here? And you need somebody who is old-fashioned. Will Young's batting in that series against New Zealand was what? It was old-fashioned, grinding Test cricket. He grinded. He was playing spin properly, not trying to hit from ball one. Shubman Gill obviously needs to be Shubman Gill, but he has to do what Cheteshwar Pujara did. Nobody's saying 1,300 balls, but he's got to bat with a lot of ugliness. He's got to not throw his wicket away. That is the point that we are trying to make. Hanuma Vihari got an 8, but got of India to a start where he played off the new ball in 2018. And somebody said Gautam Gambhir is arrogant. Ogni, take this one. I actually like people who are arrogant to go to Australia. In Australia, you don't send meek people. They will smash you. Ravi Shastri worked in Australia because Ravi Shastri could give it back to the Australians in their own coin. And that's why I've always loved Australia. Someone comes and riles me up, I'll give it back and tear them apart. That's how I am. And that's why I love Ravi Shastri and Gautam Gambhir in Australia. Ogni.
पिच को निकालो गेम से, भाड़ में गया पिच. चाहे मेलबर्न हो, चाहे एडिलेड हो, चाहे ईडन गार्डन्स हो, आपको 20 विकेट लेना है. पिच को निकालो गेम से. Said a certain Ravi Shastri, and he was arrogant. Make no mistake, because Ravi Shastri, Bharat Arun, Virat Kohli, these people, they nurtured a core group of Indian fast bowlers who will be traveling down under. Take a Mohammad Siraj, take a Jasprit Bumrah. Yes, Akashdeep has come through. You were taking Harshit Rana as a surprise pick. Prasidh Krishna also played some of his matches under Kohli as captain. And to speak of arrogancy against Australia, just remember that one gesture from the previous captain on Australian tour, pointing at the bat. So, see, things will happen in Australia. Things will go out of hand, and especially the Australian and English media are known for giving it back to people. They will ask the hard questions. They will come hard at you. But I think what will separate this Indian side from the last 2 Indian sides that travel to Australia is the presence of a certain Rohit Sharma as a leader. I mean, Ajinkya Rahane led India in 21-22, and you got a fair taste of what what Serate captaincy can be in Australia. people trying to rile him up. He was being calm, he was being confident, he was being calm, backing his bowlers. But see, at the same time, you have a Rishabh Pant now, who will continuously chatter from behind the stumps. Have you heard of a temporary captain, huh, monkey? So these are quotes that are unforgettable quotes during the India-Australia series. And things will happen, but you need a certain kinds of arrogance. At the same time, you need a certain kind of calmness. I mean, you can't be arrogant and try the baseball style and, the match gets over in 30-35 overs.
Important question. I mean, if you are going with KL Rahul as an opener, and if Rohit doesn't make it for the second, somebody asked this, per test match, you don't throw pink ball, Ishwaran into the dead end for the pink ball test. You've got to give Rahul 2 opportunities because KL Rahul hasn't opened in test match cricket. You're getting him up from number 6. You can't just junk him for after 1 test match. You've got to give him 2 chances at least, especially in pink ball conditions in Australia. Last time round, you got out for 36. You can't throw pink ball in there, right, Shomik?
See, the thing is that not only KL Rahul or Ashwin, I see a lot of confusion around this team. To start with the fast bowling, as far as fast bowling is concerned, in Mohammad Shami's absence, and India are going to miss Shami big time in Australia. So in Mohammad Shami's absence, Bumrah lacks a world-class new ball partner. And it has created enough confusion among the team management and also the selectors to load the squad with a lot of fast bowlers, these Ranas and Krishnas and all. So this is the thing. Now coming to batting, KL will open in Perth, right? So who will the number 6 then? Is it Jurel? Is it Sarfraz? Is it Washi? Who is your number 6 then? Sudarshan is not part of the squad. Sudarshan is not part of the squad. He hasn't. Okay. No, hasn't been drafted into the squad. So I see a lot of confusion in this team. So that is the only area of concern. I don't doubt this team's ability to fight back or their skill set. They are fantastic cricketers in their own right. But I see a lot of confusions around this team. And there was a debate going on about who could be the between Prasidh Krishna or Harshit Rana. If I am to make a choice, none of them. It should be just Bumrah, Akashdeep, and Siraj, and Nitish Reddy as a 4th seamer who will roll his arm over for a few overs and will give the frontline fast bowlers in a breather. If he can chip in with a wicket or 2, that's a bonus. And with Nitish in the team, there will be a bit of batting in the lower mid order as well. So this is my opinion, and it's a very personal opinion.
Ishan, if you can take this question from Tomogno Basu, he writes, my hope would be if they make KL Rahul open in the first test, GG needs to put a hand on his shoulders and ensure him that even if he fails, they will not drop him once Rohit is back. Ishan?
Yes, absolutely right. I think, that assurity is very important, Agita. I think, a lot of times players need that assurity. KL Rahul has had a tough time at the moment. Obviously, there will be expectations out of him, but like Boreda also mentioned, you can't drop someone from, just after playing 1 test match. You have to give him at least 2. So I think KL Rahul will feel that pressure, but it's about backing your players in a long series as well, Agita. So I feel he has to be backed. Obviously, he has been playing for the India A side as well, so he has some sort of familiarity with the conditions at the moment. So I'm sure when he goes on to play that big test match, he'll be much more confident when he was playing. Yes, Devashita, yeah.
No, if KL Rahul, if he succeeds, yes, you should stick with him. But if he fails, I don't think. And remember, there's a gap of 9 days between the first and the second test. And if Rohit travels to Australia, then you should have your captain playing that test match. No point Rohit going there and sitting out. Means if he goes well in time ahead for the second test, he should always play that second test match. Yes, you might argue that if KL Rahul scores runs in the first test in challenging conditions, yes, you might argue yes. But to have your captain, if he goes well in time for the second test, you should always play. That is my view.
Would the option of
him
down the order? Yeah.
Please, go on, Ishan, go on.
No, I think where I was coming from was obviously not in the opening position, but
Yes,
again,
exactly.
the
Yes, exactly.
opportunity to push him
Yeah.
down the order once again. But again, with Dhruv Jurel, Sarfraz in that mix, it gets a little difficult. But it's a debatable thing here because dropping someone from one test match again is hard. But Dhruv Jurel has been performing really well. I've been making claims that they should play Sarfraz. And I still do think that Sarfraz deserves an opportunity, but it's very difficult to not play Jurel now after two back-to-back
Yes.
50s.
Yes.
So it's going to be very difficult to see actually who plays in that number 6 position also.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we need to close the show now because we'll come back at 5 o'clock with lot more on the Gautam Gambhir press conference. The team would go, etc., etc. Uh, Firstly, let me make this point. Devashish Sen, Rohit Juglan, and Shubhan Chakraborty leave for Australia in 2 days' time. So you will have maximum coverage from down under. Subsequently, five of us, there will be eight of us in Australia. Eight of us. I don't think any Indian media house will send even more than two. We will have eight people in Australia. And the idea is simple. Yesterday, somebody posted a comment on Twitter, Rev Sports के पास इतना पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है भाई आके देख लीजिए ब्लैक मनी तो है नहीं सब टैक्स दिया हुआ पैसा है आपको चेक करना है तो आप आके चेक कर लीजिए आप कवरेज देखो कहाँ से आ रहा है क्या आ रहा है ये सब मत देखो बिकॉज पैसा तो सिंपल टैक्स दिया हुआ पैसा है ब्रांड्स आर बिलीविंग इन अस people are wanting to watch decent coverage and not sensationalist rubbish anymore. So 8 of us will be in Australia for this particular series. At the same time, Ishan will be in Jeddah for the IPL auction. Atreo will be in Singapore for the World Chess. Devashish, Rohit, and Shubhan will go day after. Shubhan 3-4 days later. So we will have people all through Border Gavaskar Trophy, and Ogni, myself, and a lot of others will be in Melbourne and Sydney also. So that's our coverage plan. The other point that I wanted to make, and I want closing comments on this. Shomik, you start. If Rohit Sharma has to play the second test match, he has to play that 2-day warm-up big ball game. He can't just land up one day. There can be 9 days before the second test. But the fact of the matter is 9 days with pink ball is every day you need of the 9. And you have to play that warm-up game. So effectively, Rohit will have to go soon after the first test match if he has to play that pink ball test in Adelaide. Show me.
What my understanding is that he might miss the second test as well. Not 100% sure at the moment, but what my sources have told me from the Bombay cricket circles that he might miss the second test as well. But we'll see. But you are absolutely right. If he has to play this pink ball test, he will have to play that warm-up game. Absolutely. Without that, and given that he's going through a lean patch, he's short of confidence. He will be short of confidence because he's not scoring runs. He needs to get into the groove. But that said, once again, I reiterate, there is still a question mark. He is not playing the first test, and there is a question mark of him in playing in Adelaide as well.
Nitish Reddy is not ready. He has to gain experience in domestic. Shardul Thakur should have been there. Shubhajit. Gautam made this one line. There has to be, people need to move on, or something like that. That was the line. Bharat Ramraj, take this one. Do you really have anyone? I mean, Nitish Reddy is perhaps the one for the future. At some point in time, you needed to get someone in. Hardik Pandya is the right man, but unfortunately, his body doesn't allow him to play red ball. Bharat, would you play Nitish Reddy in Perth from what you've seen so far of him?
Oh, that I've already said. I'm not very sure of playing him, though he scored 36 in his last innings. But I like the kind of potential he has as a player, but not very sure of playing him in the first test. I already said I might think of picking 4 pace bowlers with Harshit at 8, but again, Harshit, they have not picked him and played him in the India A game. That would have made it easier. But I understand why Nitish Reddy has to play in the Indian Test team because they want someone who can bat a little bit, score some runs. But I'm not very sure about his credentials currently as a Test player. But having said that, he has a lot of potential, and India have to move on from Shardul Thakur because Shardul Thakur has had a lot of fitness issues. I don't think you can continue with Shardul Thakur in 2024. What he did in 2020, 21, 2021, 22 at Wanderers, 2 years ago, it's 3 years ago. Time flies, and with all his injuries, knee injuries, other injuries. I don't think he's fit enough currently to get you 15 overs or ball 15 overs, 18 overs a day. So Nitish Reddy is the man for the future. But having said that, first test match, should India pick him? I'm not 100% sure, but understand if India go ahead with him, because Harshit Rana is someone they have not played him in the India-Australia game, because he's someone who can bat a bit at number 8. So if Harshit Rana is not playing at 8, then definitely you need someone who can bat at 6, and it is, I think, they will go with Nitish Reddy. It definitely has the potential and is one for the future, because he can swing the ball, and I think it's technically very decent. Just that he's from IPL generation, so he needs to. Isn't this like a work in progress? He needs to understand what exactly Test cricket is all about, where you can't just play shots every single delivery, and he has to understand all these subtleties of Test cricket to get to that level where we can say, yeah, he's a good all-rounder.
Nirmal Roy, will Ashwin play any of the 5 test matches? Melbourne and Sydney for sure should play, because there will be. And by the way, Devashish, if you think Ashwin had a real key role in the last series also. I mean, first thing
Sydney test match, your interview.
Exactly. I mean, Ashwin gets dropped, but your thoughts on Ashwin?
Yeah, definitely. I think Sydney and Melbourne will be in the ideal conditions to play Ashwin, but definitely not in Perth or Brisbane or Adelaide. But I just want to ask, all of you, is it a point in playing Washington Sundar in that first test match in Perth, where he can extract the bounce, because given the conditions will definitely favor the fast bowlers, and with the bounce, and he's a tall bowler, tall off spinner. So is it worth taking a gamble in playing Washington Sundar? He can also bat. He can also score runs. He has the temperament. So is it a point of playing Washington Sundar? It can add variation to the attack with a Ravindra Jadeja and a Washington Sundar, and you play the 3 fast bowlers in Bumrah, Siraj, and Akashdeep, or Prasidh Krishna, whoever it is.
Devashish, you have to take a call. If you,
Shomik, go on. Before you take it, after that I'll go on.
Okay, Devashish, you have to take a call, because if you are playing Washi, you are dropping Dhruv Jurel. So you have to take a call whether you want to play a specialist batsman. I mean, Washi is also basically a specialist batsman, but you have to take a call. You cannot play both Washi and Dhruv Jurel in the 11. So you have to take a call, and that's a tricky call, very, very tricky call. This is a very, very valid question.
I think it's an extremely good question, number one. I think if you see the record of Nathan Lyon and overspin in Perth, I think Washington Sundar, among all our spinners, gives the maximum amount of overspin from what I've seen in that New Zealand test match. I think he's made a very strong case to be played in Perth. I think Nathan Lyon is 4 test matches, 23 wickets or something like that in Perth. I do think Washington Sundar makes a very strong case to be played. Actually, I would go with this. Jadeja could be rested and play Washington Sundar just for that Perth test. Because Washington Sundar as a batter is no less than Ravindra Jadeja. Is a very, very good batter, and can be, because of his overspin, played that Perth test. Look at the number of left-handers in that Australian squad. There are a number of left-handers, and you can actually think of playing Washington Sundar in that Perth test. So I think it's a very, very fair question to ask. Bharat Ramraj, Ishan Shane, both of you take this one. Bharat?
Yeah, which
Ogni, why don't you take this before I go to Bharat? Ogni, take this, the Washington Sundar, Dhruv. What is the combination? What is the combination as of now?
Yeah. If I have to take then Washington Sundar, obviously, I will go with the Washington Sundar, definitely. See, he's someone, I don't think we are giving him enough credit when it comes to his bowling. The kind of improvement is made in the last 1 year or whatever. He's a different kind of bowler now. He's putting a lot more body into his action. The way he's pivoting is a very different bowler now, and the kind of bounce he's getting. Even subtle changes of pace is making. He's going from 94, 95 kilometers per hour down to 87, 88. That is something that we saw in that India-New Zealand test series. He's a completely different bowler who can even become a frontline test spinner for India in the future. So if you ask me, I will obviously pick Washington Sundar in the first test in Perth. It's because in the second innings, what happens is in Perth and all, you will get a lot of heat. So there will be cracks in the second innings. 100% there will be cracks, and because you get that little more bounce in Perth, that kind of uneven bounce where a lot of it will kick up from the surface. It should help a tall spinner like Washington Sundar if he keeps hitting those cracks like what Nathan Lyon has done at Wacker or at Perth, both stadiums in the past.
More than cracks, I also think now that the faster bowlers will 100% come round the wicket against the Australian left-handers, there will be pitch marks. There will be footmarks which Washington Sundar can exploit, can come and bowl. So Jasprit Bumrah and Akash Deep, they will come round the wicket and they'll get the angle in, and that's where they will run. And that is the exact space where Washington Sundar can start pitching the balls. Something that Sachin Tendulkar used to insist, that get a left arm fast bowler, because he will run in there. He will run in there and create those spots for someone like an Ashwin to exploit in Australia. That is something that Washington Sundar absolutely can do. Ogni, your kind of combination at this point, because I'll take closing comments. Bharat's given, Shovik's given, you and Ishan.
I might just go ahead and play Dhruv Jurel Boriada because of his 80 and 68 in the India A games. He's riding on confidence, he's riding on form. And as we've seen in the England series, he's an extremely gritty player. I don't know about whether he can, face up to start Hazelwood Cummins. One thing I know for sure, he's not.
So Jurel for Sarfaraz.
Jurel for Sarfaraz. Definitely Jurel for Sarfaraz. Boriada,
so 1 second. So let's check the combination. So what is your combination, Ogni? You're saying KL, Rahul and Jaiswal to open, right?
Jaiswal at the top. Yes.
Gill at number 3, Kohli 4,
correct.
Pant 5.
Correct.
Who is 6?
Correct. Dhruv Jurel.
Jurel 6. Good. 7.
Jurel is 6. 7, I am slightly confused between Jadeja and Washington. Though people are biased about Washington Sundar, and for all the right reasons. But I think I will still go with Jadeja as my X Factor player. He has done incredible things for Indian cricket, and not only on his legacy, but I think Jadeja will save 20-25 runs on the field, taking nothing away from Washington Sundar's fielding caliber. So I will go with Ravindra Jadeja in place of Washington Sundar at number 7. And 8, 9, 10, 11, I'll have. It's a long tail. I know it's a long tail.
This is where I differ. You cannot go in with a long tail in the first Test match in Australia. You can't. So up to 6 is fine. For me, 7 and 8, Ishan, you take this as well. Washington Sundar 7, Ravindra Jadeja 8, and then the 3 fast bowlers. 1 hit the deck, Prasidh Krishna, because he's played the 2 games, and 1 between Akash and Siraj, and of course Bumrah. That is my 11 in Australia, at least in the first Test, which gives you batting till number 8, Ishan.
Surely, Boriada. I would play Washington Sundar as well, simply because of the confidence he showed in the recent Test series, and obviously because of the overspin he can generate as well. He seems like an improved bowler as an improved player. So you want to play a person who's saving a much better player from recent times, definitely. And there's been a debate. Dhruv Jurel, Sarfaraz. I've been saying Sarfaraz. It's always fair to give Sarfaraz an opportunity here, but simply because Dhruv Jurel has been in such a great ride of form, I think that's the best way to go ahead. You can't be, you can't favor Sarfaraz just because he's toiled in domestic cricket. I feel he could have been given an opportunity if Dhruv Jurel did not perform so well. However, Dhruv Jurel has gone on to do something a lot of youngsters possibly couldn't do in Australia for so long. So you can't not give Dhruv Jurel an opportunity now. So Dhruv Jurel, I would change my decision. I would give it to Jurel over Sarfaraz right now.
So Devashish, you have the closing comments. Yes, Ogni, quickly. The only change in this 11 that we said for me is so 6 Dhruv Jurel, 7 Sundar, 8 is a toss-up between Ravindra Jadeja and Nitish Kumar Reddy.
I was exactly coming to this point, Boriada. I was exactly coming to this point. Yes, I was exactly coming to this point. So probably for the first Test in Perth, where the wicket will be a bit bouncy, will be a bit pacey, as Shomikda mentioned earlier as well, you need to give your frontline fast bowlers rest. And if nothing more, if Nitish Reddy can roll his arm over, because you see, Australia have an extremely similar player in Mitch Marsh for the first Test. So if Nitish Reddy decides to roll his arm over and probably bag a couple of wickets, nothing like it, and he gives you, very importantly, he gives you enormous batting depth till number 8.
Devashish, Ravindra Jadeja
I would go with Ravindra Jadeja. If there has to be a call between Ravindra Jadeja and Nitish Reddy, I will always go for that experience that Jadeja brings to the table. Means so I think I would totally agree with your team. Jaiswal and KL opening the batting. 3 is Shubman, 4 Virat, 5 Pant, 6 Dhruv Jurel, 7 it will be a toss up between Jadeja and Nitish Reddy. In my case, I will go with Jadeja, given the experience he brings to the table. The 3 bowlers in Bumrah, Prasidh Krishna and Akashdeep, and obviously the,
You missed out Washington Sundar.
Washington Sundar. Sorry, yeah.
So Shomik, do you agree with this team as I close?
See, my team is KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman, Virat, Rishabh Pant, Sarfaraz at number 6, because just only 2 test matches ago he has scored a 150. Number 7 Jadeja, number 8 Nitish Reddy, and then Akashdeep, Bumrah, Akashdeep and Siraj.
Agreement. Love the disagreement. We'll be back at 5 o'clock with more. But clearly, the Gautam Gambhir press conference has left us with many, many more questions. The only answer that we think we have is Rohit Sharma is not there in that Perth test. Every other question we can debate till the cows come home, because next 10 days will be about this particular debate. What is India's team? Because we will have a very close, and India is not playing a practice game, mind you. So it will be only practice. We will not be able to have a clear idea more about form. So this debate will continue. Massive series, massive test match in the offing 10 days from now. And 3 of our reporters will be there. Many more will follow. And we will also have an eye on the IPL auction. By the way, today we launch a new series, Leadership Talks at 12 noon with India's best corporate leaders, thought leaders, corporate leaders, India's best, people who run this country, life lessons from sport. And we also launch a series from tomorrow. You will see the promo today. Auction Tales with Richard Madley, where the first IPL auctioneer, Richard Madley, who did 11 auctions, talks about his auction tales, auctioning some of the best players he did. What are the stories behind the story scenes kind of stories? How each team reacting to an MS Dhoni auction. He did not auction Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli, the 2 people he kind of regrets not having auctioned. Does he feel that at some point he did injustice to a player? He opened up like never before. So that's also a series we are launching, Auction Tales with Richard Madley. Plenty coming on Rev Sports. We will be back at 5 p.m. Thank you very much for watching, and keep following the platform.